Okay, so this is for Chapter 17 of Building Vocabulary Skills. If you want to follow along, we're on page 102. So let's take a look at the words here, and you can take a guess at the parts of speech as I read them out. So first one is discriminate, 8. Then dismal, dispense, profound, severity, cite, subside, summon, theatrical, and vocation. So our first one here is discriminate. This ends in that 8 sound. This is a verb. It's easy to discriminate between canned and fresh vegetables. Fresh vegetables taste much better. Tests show that women tend to discriminate among colors better than men. Cherry red, cranberry red, and purplish red are all simply dark red to many men. So discriminate means tell the difference. Now, one of the things I want you to notice in these is that discriminate, when we're talking about telling the difference between two things, is followed by between. So in the first example, it means to tell the difference between canned and fresh vegetables. In the second one, we're talking about more than two things, so among colors. So it can be followed by either of these. On page 103, it says to see differences. It's number 2, distinguish. So discriminate in this case means that you're able to pick out the differences between two. Now, the other meaning of this word discriminate is related to the word discrimination. And discrimination is really about treating people differently because they're different from you. Right? To discriminate means to treat someone poorly because they're different from you. So this meaning of discriminate is slightly different than that meaning, but you can see that both of them are based on differences. Dismal. Tyrell was disappointed by the dismal news that his knee injury would keep him off the football team for the whole semester. It's a dismal, rainy day, Mona told her disappointed children, but we don't have to cancel the picnic. We can have it on the kitchen floor. So dismal means gloomy. On page 103, it's number 6. It says gloomy, cheerless, depressing. So when we talk about something dismal, if we say that news is dismal, it means that it's bad news. It means that it's depressing news, that it's news about the future that makes things look bad. So if we look at the picture there, it's a dismal looking sky. If you look out there, it's sort of a depressing looking situation. So dismal has this meaning of depressing or not happy, or that the future is going to be worse than it is right now. Dispense. This is a verb. The broken soda machine dispensed either a cup or soda, but not both together. Restaurant soap holders are supposed to dispense liquid soap. At each push, restroom soap holders that are supposed to dispense liquid soap at each push seem to be empty most of the time. So dispense means to give out. On page 103, it's number 7, to give out in portions or amounts. So dispense can be used for physical things. So like in the first one, we say that this soda machine dispenses soda, but it's broken, but it gives out in certain amounts soda. In the second one, we're saying these soap holders, right? When you go and you push the soap holder, a certain amount, a certain measure of soap will come out. Is to dispense. We also have, like dispensers like those vending machines where you put in some money. They dispense out a Coke or candy or chips or whatever it is that you've purchased. It means to give out. So these are all physical things, but dispense can also mean you could dispense advice. So someone may give out advice. You come to them and they'll give you a piece of advice. This is often used, for wise people. Dispense advice to people who are not so wise. Our next one here is profound, and this is an adjective. The death of a spouse can cause profound depression that, in some cases, can even lead to the death of the partner. Ever since her stepfather insulted her mother, Serena has had a profound hatred of him. In this case, profound means deep. On page 103, it's number 1. It says deeply felt. So profound, profound has this meaning of describing a feeling or emotion, meaning that it is not a surface level thing, but that it is a very deep, very strong emotion. So in the first one, the death of a spouse can cause profound depression. It means that if your wife or your husband dies, this would make you extremely depressed. In the second one, Serena, the daughter, had a profound hatred of him, right? Because her stepfather insulted her mother, she had a very extreme, very deep hatred for him. So severity, this is a noun. The severity of the fire could be seen in the burned, smoking ruins of the once beautiful building. Mark believes the severity of his punishment was too great. 100 hours of weekend trash cleanup seemed too harsh a penalty for throwing 2 soft drink cans onto the highway. And severity means intensity. Now, one of the things to notice about this is it doesn't have to be followed by this, but you'll notice that it's often followed by of. So in the first one, the severity of the fire. The severity means how bad was it? Severity by itself doesn't mean it's bad or it's good. It's just talking about the intensity, the measurement of it. On page 103, it's number 9. The condition or quality of being severe. Harshness, intensity, seriousness. So, but really what we're talking about is we're talking about the level of harshness. So the severity of the fire, right? We can see how hard it was. So in the second one, the severity of this punishment, we're talking about how hard the punishment was. So I guess I should back up a little bit. So severity does mean that it's something, we're talking about something bad, but really we're talking about how bad is it, right? So we can have a lot of severity or we can have little severity. So the intensity of it can be different. Okay, our next word here is sight, and this is a noun. Now, a word we've had before is also pronounced the same way, sight, but it's with a C. This one is with an S. The one with a C is a verb. The one with the S is a noun. So the oldest private home in the New England town was named a historical site. Wounded Knee, South Dakota, is the site of a conflict between the federal government and the Sioux Indians in 1973. And in this case, a site is a place. On page 103, it's number 3, the past, present, or future location of a building or buildings or an event. So a site is a location either of a building or of an event, right? So in the first one, right, this building was named a historical site, right? So we were talking about a building. In the second one, Wounded Knee, this was a battle. There was called a Battle of Wounded Knee between the U.S. government and the Sioux Indians, the Native Americans. So the site isn't a building, it's a location, but the location is remembered because of the battle. Here in Virginia, there's many famous sites. One of the big parks in Manassas is the Manassas Battlefield Park, and it's the site of 2 important battles that took place during the U.S. Civil War. Subside. When I'm really furious, I walk around the block, makes my anger subside. Connie sat in her car until the storm subsided. Then she dashed up the sidewalk and into the school building. And subside means to lessen. Pardon me. So this one is similar to the word that we had in chapter 16, which was to diminish. Subside on page 103 is number 10. It says to become less active, calm down, decrease. So in this case, what we're talking about with subside is we're talking about something that has gone up and then is coming back, making it come back down. So in this way, it's similar in that way. We talked about recede, and we talked about what was the other one? Oh, maybe it was it may have been a different class. But subside. So diminish just means to go down. So we're not there's we don't know what the starting point was or if it's gone up before. But subside has the meaning of that something was normal, that went up, and then when it subsides it comes back down. So for example, in this one, the first example, it says when I'm really furious, when I'm really angry. So before I get really angry, I'm normal, but then my anger goes up and then it subsides, it comes back down. In that case, it's also diminishing. In the second one, right, the storm, it wasn't raining, then it started raining really hard, and then when it subsides, it comes back down. The intensity comes back down. Okay. Next one here is summon. This is a verb. When the king couldn't sleep, he would summon the court clown to come and entertain him. The principal liked to summon troublesome students to his office by announcing their names over the loudspeaker. To summon means to send for. It's number 7 on page 103. To send for, order to appear. So a summon is really sort of a formal word, and it's used for a powerful person calling a less powerful person to them. So in the first example, we have the king, who's the powerful person, is summoning the court clown. He's calling a less powerful person to come to him for some reason. In the second one, the principal, who's the head of the school, is summoning the students who are not as strong. So summon really means is that a person with power is calling a person with less power to appear before them, normally for some specific means. You also may receive a summons from the courts, which means that the court is requiring that you come to court. So again, it's a powerful entity calling you to come someplace to do some specific thing. Theoretical. This is an adjective. At first, Van enjoyed simply looking through his telescope. However, when questions occurred to him, he began to read theoretical explanations of what he was seeing. The teacher explained the theoretical basis for the chemistry experiment so the class would understand why it worked as it did. So theoretical means scientifically possible. Now theoretical, if you look in there, the word that's part of that is theory. And a theory is an idea that has been tested over and over again, that a majority of people have come to believe as being true. So theoretical, when we talk about theoretical, we mean that something that is that science says is possibly true. It doesn't mean it's 100% true, but science seems to support it. So on page 103, it's number 5, based about or based on theory, as opposed to practice or practical use, based on a possible explanation, hypothetical. Okay, so theoretical doesn't mean for sure that this is true, but it means that based on science, it's probably true. All right, and our last one here is vocation, and this is a noun, and don't get this confused with vacation. It's with an O. Raising collies was just a job for Louise. Her vocation was library science. If you can't decide on your career, you might wish to take a test that reveals which vocations you're suited for. And vocation means an occupation. Vocation is your job. It's on 103, it's number 4, a profession or occupation. So in the first one, raising collies, collies are a kind of job. Sorry, a kind of dog. So raising them wasn't her job. Her real job was working in the library. In the second one, you can take tests that will, if you're trying to figure out what kind of job you might like to do, you can take tests that will tell you based on your personality what kind of jobs, pardon me, what kind of jobs might be interesting to you. Okay, so let's take a look at these on page 104. Since the alligator and the crocodile look a lot alike, most people cannot blank between them. Couple of clues here. One, we have two things. We have the word between after the space, but if these things look a lot alike, it's going to be hard to do what? Growing up with poverty gave Juanita a blank desire to help others in need. So if you grew up without a lot, are you going to feel a strong desire to help people or a weak desire to help people? So the first one is discriminate. They can't tell the difference between the two, alligator and crocodile. And the second one, she has a deep desire, right, to help them. Near the shore, the waves were enormous, but as we rode out into the open water, they began to blank. Okay, so the waves were really big and really strong, but as we got further away, they started to get less. What word means that? I thought I was in trouble when my boss blanked me to her office until she told me I was getting a raise. So my boss is someone powerful, and she's telling me to come to her office. What word is that? Among the most dangerous blanks are deep sea diving, mining, and construction. So deep sea diving, mining, and construction are all types of jobs. So what word would that be? So the first one is subside, right? The waves decreased. My boss summoned me, called me into his or her office, and these jobs are vocations, right, or occupations. The room is too blank. It needs a party to brighten it up. So the room is too what? If it needs a party, is the room happy or is it sad? Um, do you think food machines at public schools should blank only nutrition foods such as fruits and juices? So, do you think that food machines at public schools should only give out nutritious foods? What word means that? So the room is too dismal, right? It's very sad and cheerless. And then dispense. It should only give out food. All right, medication should match the blank of a problem. A powerful painkiller isn't needed for a hangnail. So a hangnail is when, with your fingernails on the side of them, sometimes a part of your fingernail comes off, and it can be painful, but it's not very, very serious, so you don't need a powerful painkiller for that. So the level of the problem, how bad it is. I can use the math formulas, but I don't understand the bank basis for them. So I can use them, I can use them practically, but I don't understand the science behind them or why they're working. Although the blank where the hiker claimed a spaceship had landed was burned, no one believed his story. All right, so this is the location, the place of this event. Pardon me. No, what word would we have for this place? All right, so here the first one is severity, right? The intensity of the problem. Next one is I don't understand the theory. I understand the practical nature, but I don't understand the theory of why it works. And the last one is the site, the location where this ship landed. All right, so go ahead and finish off your online activities and your questions and bring any additional questions you have to class. Take care. See you then. Bye.